In this video series, we will look at how to install and configure ENow software, which includes Mailscape, Compass, Uniscope, and Foresite, in 3 easy steps. This video is the first in the 3-part series. Now, in this first video, we will show step 1, or how to install ENow software on a web server. Now, I have a virtual machine that I've done most of the preparation on, but before we go there, let's take a high-level overview of this diagram, which shows us the basic architecture. Notice that the ENow Management Suite, which again includes Mailscape, Compass, Uniscope, and Foresite, installs on a web server in your company's internal network. On each server to be monitored, a small, lightweight client installs quickly and easily with no reboot necessary. During the day, the web server communicates with the servers it is monitoring and sends data to a back-end instance of SQL. The only port that needs to be open for Mailscape to do its job is 20080. Some of the roles and features that will be needed for the web server are IIS, IIS6 management compatibility, ASP.NET, Net Framework 3.5.1, and Windows authentication. So, without any further delay, let's look at how to install our ENow software on the web server. Okay, here we are now on the virtual web server that I'm setting up. That guy in the middle, that's me or you, IT 24/7, feeling like a robot, juggling 1,000 things at once, hence our need for ENow and Admin Life Simplified. Okay, so remembering some of the prerequisites that we needed to install, we can see that here on Server Manager, under Roles, we have installed the web server, IIS, and I'll also show you that under Role Services, you can see that we installed under Security, Windows Authentication, and under Management Tools, IIS6 Metabase Compatibility. So that's basically what it was asking for. A couple of other things that you'll want to install as well. Now, if you have a back-end instance of SQL to connect to, you can certainly do that when it asks later on. In my case, I installed Microsoft's free version of SQL Server Express 2014. And we will have links to that later so that you'll see, where to find that. But you can easily find it through your search engine, whatever your favorite one is. So now, going back to our web server, another link that we'll show you at the end is the one that you receive when you purchase the software, and that's the file transfer download site to download the software. So you download the software, enter your username and password. I always like to put it in a temp folder right on the root of the C drive, and I share that folder out. That way I can get to it from other machines if I need to. In any case, here is our ENow management system, 64-bit, which I highly recommend. And we will go ahead and extract this package. Now, within the installer package, we actually have several exec files. We're only going to be using one of those in this video, and I'll tell you ahead of time, it's the last one. But let's go ahead and take a look at the others. First, we have ENow Client setup. This is installed on the servers we would like to monitor. We'll demonstrate this in a subsequent video. We have ENow Client Upgrade. This is used for upgrading current installations of the ENow Management Suite, such as Mailscape, Compass, Uniscope. And this one, you never click on it and run it. You don't launch this exec. This gets dropped into a folder on the web server so that the web server can push out the updates. The Exchange Online setup is for monitoring Exchange Online. Link Service setup is for Uniscope for monitoring Link. Now the Namespace Monitor setup, we're going to look at that in a subsequent video as well. This is used in environments where you're monitoring Exchange 2013. Now, even though we are working with an Exchange 2013 environment today, like I said, we'll configure this in a subsequent video. And the ENow Web Server Setup 64. This is the one for setting up a 64-bit web server, which we have. So we're just going to go ahead and copy that and paste it on the desktop. And we should be ready to launch. So we'll right-click it, run it as an administrator, and here we go. Now, the first thing it's going to do is check the prerequisites. And as we looked at, we have met those. We need to be on a machine that is not a domain controller. It needs to have IIS 6.0 or later, ASP.NET. All these requirements have been met. We are going to install Mailscape and Compass. And we have a couple of notes here. One is on the namespace feature that I mentioned earlier. The other is something I haven't mentioned yet, which is the Exchange Management Tools. So basically, if you want the full functionality of our report wizard and the capabilities that our software can produce for Exchange, you will want to install the corresponding management tools from your DVD. So if you're running Exchange 2010, Exchange 2010 management tools. If you're running Exchange 2013, 2013 management tools, and as it says here, if it's a mixed environment, install the Exchange 2013 management tools. Again, that will help you as far as creating custom reports through the report wizard. That'll give you that functionality. Okay, so we click Next. And it's going to examine our IIS configuration. Now, Mailscape will create a database on your instance of SQL. However, to save time and for convenience, I've already allowed it to create one. So it gives you two choices here. Install the ENow web server on a new website or on an existing. In this case, we'll choose existing because, like I said, it's already there. Do you want to continue? Yes. Now we have a software license agreement. We'll go ahead and agree to that. And click Next again. Okay, now that the software has finished installing, the administration console opens up. So this is connecting to the actual software inside the web server. This is not connecting to the web page that we're going to see in a second. To connect to the web page, I recommend just copying this URL, opening up Explorer, and just pasting it in here and bookmarking it as your home page. Now you can see that it's not displaying properly at this time because we have not configured a license for it. So we're going to go ahead to the administration console and click Connect. Okay, and here we are. Now the first window that opens up is for Mailscape activation if we were trialing the product. But since in this demonstration we are showing a purchase, we would just simply close this window out and this one as well. Okay, so we're down to the final steps. What we would do now for a purchased copy is go ahead and copy the license that you received from us. Obviously, this is not a real license key, but you would copy it and then just simply paste it in the window here under Deployment. Once you click Save, the license is registered and the software is fully functional at that point. Now, you can go back to the web view. Now, I have already installed clients on some of my servers, Exchange and Active Directory. Therefore, they're starting to check in. We're going to cover how to install the client in an upcoming video. You also see that in the Exchange 2013 environment, there's some namespace configuration to do to take full advantage of our features there. We're also going to cover that in a subsequent video. For now, suffice it to say that our web server is up and running. We can see that it has a connection and that the web page is being displayed. The only other thing we want to do at this point to enable the full functionality of the reporting features is to go ahead and click on Reporting Central here and enable SQL integration. Now, remember that we have SQL Express 2014 running on this virtual machine. There has been a previous Mailscape database, but at this time it's disabled. So what we're going to do here is click SQL integration. It will look for the instance of SQL. We can go ahead and test our password here. Now, if there's not a Mailscape database, the software will create one. In this case, we're just going to go ahead and use that existing one that's already been created just for the sake of saving time. So we click Next, and it tells us that it's stopping and restarting some services. It tells us that it needs TCP connections. Click Next. And then there's the purge of the SQL database. Our default is 3 months. However, you can certainly extend that, as long as you keep an eye on disk space and back up your SQL database and what have you. Next again, in this case, as I said, it already exists. If it did not, it would create it for us, but we're just going to update the existing database. And this tells us that it is properly done. Okay, well that concludes this first video, how to install ENow software on a web server. Again, we're going to have additional videos that show you the next steps, which are installing the client on the servers to be monitored, and also configuring Exchange 2013 namespace and setting things like thresholds and exclusions. But for now, I'd like to say thanks for stopping by and watching this video. Again, ENow, all about admin life simplified. Here's those links I promised you.